Why not? Because what happened to me, and this may be somewhat unique, but I kidded myself for years. I wasn't making any money, and people go, "How's your business going?" I'd be going, "It's going great." I would start lying to myself because I wasn't making any money in the opportunity. Now,
Ex-Amway Distributors finally win.
guys, I'm Brad Krantz. I'm here with two of my business partners, Adam Reeker, the founder of 3LE Team, and then Val Campbell. We actually met over LinkedIn about, 10 plus years ago. And I'm going to kind of give Val the lion's share of this because this guy's got a wealth of knowledge. He's got a background as a business consultant. So when we're talking about what we're talking about here, guys, I just want to be upfront and say we're not here to bash Amway Corporation. I have no problem with Amway Corporation. Its products, the opportunity is okay, but we just want to say it's maybe not all it's cracked up to be, but you want to do your due diligence as a business person, and you may be a new business person, but how do you objectively look at an opportunity and determine whether it's really the best course for you and your family and whether it's something you want to, let's just say, sink your teeth into. So I'm going to throw this question out. What if, okay, are you open, or are you really open to other opportunities that are more lucrative? Or are you just dedicated to what you're doing in Amway? Val, you want to address that a little bit from your perspective?
I think that's a really interesting question. And the reason I think it's most interesting is that that's usually the question that we would open up with a prospect. If we were, when we were Amway distributors, we would approach somebody and it wasn't, it's like, are you open-minded to other opportunities?
Right, or ways to make money.
And, then you'd get into a whole, series of discussion in maybe a coffee shop or something like that. It was always face-to-face, obviously. And I had that experience. Honestly, I was looking for a marketing opportunity. I won't go into that whole thing, but I happened to mention to a guy who had a pretty healthy Amway business, "Oh, gee, I'm looking for a marketing opportunity." And he was cool, calm, and collected. "Oh, really? Yeah. Well, I got a phone call from him a couple of days later and said, "Let's get together for coffee. Can't promise you anything." I mean, it's just a classic, and it's fine. It was cool.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, great. So I got together with him, and I was extremely skeptical. He didn't particularly hide that it was Amway. And I was intrigued, actually, because I'd heard that people made money in this deal. And I just kind of wanted to know, how's that work? I was really curious. But he said something to me that he said that he knew a lot of people that made a lot of money. And I said, can you introduce me to those people? Because those are the people I wanted to know. What do those people know? Right? I don't want to, I can always find 10,000 people that didn't make any money. I want to know what those people do, right?
Right.
So got involved. It was a long story. I worked it like a dog. I mean, I really worked it hard. And people know, my wife will tell you, I am the most stubborn person in the world. When I get my teeth into something, it took me 6 months to figure it out, what this industry really is. Because it had me. I could figure, what is going on with this? When the light bulb finally went on, I had it in my teeth and I worked it hard. And I guess the thing that I would share with people, I don't have any regrets. I learned so much, and it actually prepared me wonderfully to be able to go on and graduate into a better opportunity. So I had no regrets. And I was just telling the guys, I think it was kind of like my high school girlfriend, right? You're so in love, and you really kind of learned a lot about relationships so that you could go on to a real one. And I'm sorry, that's the way I look at it, right, guys? Do you feel the same way?
I love that
analogy.
Yeah. When you said that the first time, I thought that was one of the best analogies I had ever heard from my experience in being involved in Amway and really failing to what I've been able to create now over the last decade. Perfect analogy.
Well, the odd thing about my experience, and there's kind of two sides to this coin. I didn't fail. I actually succeeded, but I couldn't get paid on it. And let me explain that to you.
Yeah, please, that'd be great.
For those people that don't know, Amway, their compensation plan is called a Unilevel Breakaway. You are actually, when you enroll, you're inside another person's business. They are a direct distributor, and they own you. Nobody from the outside can come in and help you or even really talk to you business-wise without their permission. And most people don't know that. So it depends on whose business you get into, how much success you're going to have. Because if you can never break out of that person's business, then if you're stuck, you're stuck. You can never access the greater parts of the comp plan. And so what happened with me was I kept putting a team together, and my upline, who was a wonderful man, he would come in and he would break up my team. And then I would build up another one and he would come break it up. I never could break away from him. And the truth, he has never broken away anybody in 30 years. But somebody that I knew knew somebody in the Philippines. And in the Philippines, I was able to open up a team down there. But the way Amway's business plan works, they don't pay on international business. I would have literally had to have flown to the Philippines and start bought another kit down there. Right. So I had this person in my business, and I was here in the United States making $2,000 or $3,000 a month. And I had this person in my business that went crazy. She was very influential. She built a huge team. I usually say 50,000 people. It could have been more than that. I don't know, because they didn't have the way to track it. But I had a massive team down there. For those who people don't know, I had a double diamond. She's listed on one of the biggest, pins in Amway on the list. And she was downline for me, and I couldn't earn any money on it. So that was really when I realized that even you can work really hard, and because of the structure of the comp plan, which is 1956 technology, they weren't thinking that this was going to be a global thing when they got started. And that's really the issue. So I walked away. We're very, very reluctantly. You leave a huge team like that and you walk away, and you start looking for a new girl, right? Yep. I mean, but now when you look, you're a little smarter. You know a little bit more about relationships. You know a little bit more about what you're looking for. And you realize, that personality, that didn't fit real well. I'm going to find somebody with this different personality. So now we go looking for the right kind of a comp plan, the right kind of a product line. We know all of those things that it takes to be able to really have a globally successful business. I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, 100%.
So Brad, wasn't that pretty much your experience? What do you think?
Well, I think it goes back, and I remember Bill Britt saying this from stage, and it applies to this opportunity. He said, you don't know what you don't know, and part of your goal in life is to figure out what it is you don't know. So when you're in the opportunity, you're it's your first girlfriend, your first relationship with network marketing, you don't have anything else to compare it to. You're told it's the best opportunity. You got these people that are making incredible money, they live incredible lifestyles, and you just take a lot of that, at least I did, for granted, but you don't know if there's actually any other better opportunities out there till, again, you pull out. And I left the industry for almost 15 years. And then I meet a guy like you, Val Campbell, and I'm listening to you, and we met. And I remember I liked you from the first time we met. And we had in common because you were in the Amway business and you were in the worldwide organization. And I realized, okay, this guy's not just blowing smoke or talking about, living in mansions and driving, exotic cars, but he's understanding the industry from a business standpoint. And I really had, and I still do, Val, I have a lot of respect for you because of that. That's like, okay, this he's not just blowing smoke. I realized a lot of what I got told, I had smoke blowing at me. I was ignorant. I didn't know, but you're a guy that had experienced it. You'd kind of done some of the number crunching. You'd started looking at other opportunities and started saying, hey, there are actually some better opportunities out there. There's actually better compensation plan out there. But again, you don't know what you don't know. But
you hit a really important point there that I would share with people, and I do when I'm talking to them. If they are either looking and they're considering Amway, or if they are in Amway and they've had some struggles and they're looking to leave, and I tell them this: I do believe it's possible if you're in the right spot. If you are in a position where you can actually get some support, then that doesn't happen very often, but if you are, you can make some money in Amway. But let's just say that you really work hard and you really build an organization and you're making $250,000 a year. That same organization in a modern compensation plan, you'd be making more than $1 million. So if you're going to work really hard and you're going to build a business, and I think people have to look at this as a business. This isn't a club. right?
absolutely.
With all due respect, it's not a ministry, it's not a club. This is a business. You look at the metrics of that. And if you're going to build a business, don't you want that to be globally viable, globally diverse, and make as much money as possible for the same amount of work that you're putting in? And that's just the way I look at it. It just didn't make sense.
Absolutely.
Well, guys, it's funny. I just got a beep on my phone. I apologize. I usually have my phone silenced, but that came from a guy that legitimately makes multi-million dollars a year in this business from the opportunity, not from the educational system. And that's a cool thing that we found. And Val's absolutely right. I got very good at this industry in Amway. I got so good at it that I realized I shouldn't be building Amway. That's just the truth of the matter. Okay.
Yeah.
And as you said, you know, literally, as we're teaching our teams, I very, very often, weekly, I reference our mentors before, what they taught us. We are bringing all of that knowledge that was developed over 50 years of work. We're bringing that now into our teams. And I've often said, the day isn't coming not too far down the road that I'm going to make a trip to Spokane, and I'm going to buy my former mentor dinner, and we're going to say hi. And I do think he'd probably be fine.
I got to show you guys something now, because I love what you just said,
Okay.
Val. You keep going. I'll be right back.
So you know, it's for me, it wasn't a bad experience. There was a lot of frustration, and especially towards the end, where it's like, I'm stuck. I can't do anything. But after I left, after I got over that, it's all fine. I've still got some friends over there. And what do you got? You got books and tapes and functions.
You know how heavy this is? There is over 1,000 audio tapes, CDs in here.
Wow.
I am so jealous. You know that I had an entire huge chest of drawers full of tapes.
Yep.
And I got to tell you, I'm wishing I still had some of those, because some of those were really funny.
Yeah.
It just, you know, people don't understand this, but there was an old tape called Rhinos, Cows, and Big Mouth Frogs, and it was so darn funny. And I love some of that old stuff. But it's kind of like, you know, going back and watching Howdy Doody or something like that.
Yeah.
What happens when somebody puts all that brilliant thought process and mentorship into a compensation plan that actually pays them? What happens is it finally works.
It's stunning, and I know that you guys are having some great. We're connected in a team, but I can tell you, coming from my previous experience, our little team here, you know, our part of this deal right now is growing at a rate of close to 40% per month. I never experienced that when I was an Amway distributor. I literally one time went 7 months in a row working it,
Oh, yeah.
doing everything that was supposed to, 7 months in a row, and didn't enroll one person. And that was more than 70 people I talked to, full sit down presentation. So
they would have told you the only reason you didn't go diamond is because you stopped after 7 months, and you should have done it at 8th month.
I didn't stop after 7 months. I didn't stop after 7 months. I kept going. In the following month, I enrolled 5 people. But the point was, those 5 people, you know, I was making money, but I should have been making $1 million a year. I was making $3,000 a month.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, it's just math, guys. It's just business. You know, people need to make a quality decision, and I hope that this video helps people do that. To think about it. We're not bashing Amway, but all fingers aren't equal.
Yes,
all fingers aren't equal.
True. That is true. So let me segue into the next question, because Val, you're making a little bit of money. We never really actually made any. Adam, I think you're making a little, but from my experience, my second question is, I want to ask somebody out there and be a business person about this and put your thinking cap on. Are you actually making money with what you're doing? And then, you know, how long have you been with it? And then as a business owner, are you really making a net profit? I'm talking about after expenses every month, you've got net profit, because if not, I think you need to ask the question, why not? Because what happened to me, and this may be somewhat unique, but I kidded myself for years. I wasn't making any money, and people go, how's your business going? I'd be going, it's going great. I would start lying to myself because I wasn't making any money in the opportunity. And I wasn't putting as much effort as you, Val, but I'm out, you know, I'm actively, but it's just, I think it speaks more to the opportunity than it does to the effort, because I'll say this about my upline. I'm not going to mention his name. but I know he has a work ethic. I know he's dedicated to do what they're doing. I believe they went Ruby in 95, and I think they're trying to get back to it, but that guy has a work ethic in, and I don't believe it's his lack of work ethic that's keeping him from getting to higher levels. I believe it is a poor, outdated business model. And if he would a couple other months, he'd be making a lot more money.
Almost more than I can imagine, given a modern compensation plan, that somebody could achieve that level. How many years ago?
Well, he's been in since 89. We got in 91. So he's been, and they've maintained, I think, Q12 Platinum all those years. I don't know a good portion of them, but he was just all excited when we saw him over New Year's that they're going Ruby again with new business down Arizona. And I'm going, dude, it's been 20.
Imagine.
I have so much to say about that, Val. Oh my goodness. He hit Ruby in 95, which is 25 years ago, and he's still talking about how he's excited to hit Ruby. I'm sorry, and I think this guy's probably an amazing guy. I think this guy is
you'd have to be in the system that long, but the point is, first off, they don't have a system. They have an education and a leadership and mentoring system. They don't have a business building system. Doesn't exist over there. And the other thing is, I'm stunned. I know that happens, Brad. I know people there that have been basically the same pin for 25 years, and it's still, when I hear those stories, it stuns me.
Man, it's amazing, because here's the thing. What Brad just asked was, how do you know if something's a good business investment? Somebody that stays in something for the long haul, if they have a full-time career and they're making a side income, you can call that pretty solid. But when they're making it a full-time income, so as a personal business owner during the day outside this industry, I pretty much have projections before I invest. And if at the end of said projection, the numbers aren't there, it's gone forever. I either change my game plan or I walk away. If I change my game plan and the next projection doesn't meet what it should, I'm out, man. I'm out, because it's not working. Now, the thing with Amway is they'll always tell you how excited they are that they're about to hit the next pin. Now, if somebody hit Ruby 25 years ago and in 2020, they're saying, man, I'm super excited to hit Ruby again, that is because Amway taught them to say that. And I want to save that person. I want to save them, show them what they're worth, and then allow them to go get paid what they're worth. But you can't, because of 25 or 30 years of the crap they put in your brain. That is a friggin' lie.
Can we address that for a second? Because I don't know how much time you want to take here.
Oh, we're good.
Okay, look, here's the situation. The compensation plan is very old technology. You wouldn't go buy that plywood box with the rabbit ears if you're going to buy a TV. And really, truthfully, not very many people are getting into the Amway business these days. It's their numbers are going down. They've gone from 12 billion a year to 8 billion a year, and so they're going the wrong direction. But here's the thing: the teams, and what Adam, with all due respect, what you're describing is not Amway company. What you're describing is the teams, the team, right? And so the organization, the distributor organization that those people are a part of, create this incredible culture, and everything in your life becomes wrapped in around that culture. And it's not a cult, in my opinion. It's just, it becomes all of your social structure in everything you do gets involved in that. And so the point there is, they had to do that to keep people there. They had to create this great culture because the compensation plan was a little bad. Nobody's going to make any money.
Exactly. And their genius is at doing that. The comp plan sucked so bad that they had to be experts at getting people in and keeping them in, almost to a point where you didn't even know why you were going to a meeting. You just knew you were supposed to be there. Then you're signed up and you don't know why you're signed up. You're sitting at a function. You don't know why you're at a function. All of a sudden, 5 years passes and you gave them a whole bunch of money and you haven't made any. That's how good they were at it.
And there's obviously, my opinion, again, value received, or people wouldn't keep going back, but they're not making money. So if you're looking at it as a business, it's the wrong thing. Now,
Correct.
I was just going to make a
okay. Best stuff I ever learned is what we're talking about right now. The smartest thing I ever did was went and found the right business to connect it to.
And haven't we talked time and time again about how excited we are to bring that culture, to bring those values, and to bring, actually create a system that allows people to build in a proper modern compensation plan?
In a proper manner, I think yeah, and I agree, except this will never feel like it's all encompassing of your life. See, on 3LE team, family is first above your business. Business is like fourth or fifth on the list of important things. When it was like second to God in Amway, it's like fourth, fifth, sixth, or wherever you want to prioritize it, and you can still win. That's the thing.
Well, I never experienced that, but I will tell you that I have talked to some people that have had some success in Amway and tried to recruit them over. And they all tell me the same thing. They said, my whole life is here. My kids are in, it's my ministry. It's all this. And look, that's okay. Those aren't the people that we're addressing here.
No,
we're addressing the people that want a business and they are not finding a business there. Am I wrong?
No,
you're spot on, Val.
Absolutely right. It's when people say this is everything I've got, you have to look at what that everything they've got really is. Do they have a business? Do they actually have relationships? If they were to leave Amway, would they still have relationships with the people that were in their team? Okay. Why is a business their ministry to begin with? I understand that God works in a lot of different ways. But why is Amway the reason that you have a ministry? If you have a ministry, you have a ministry. It doesn't matter if it's connected to a thing. And Amway did a really good job of telling me that I was going, and I don't even want to say that, but you know what I'm about to say. They made me feel guilty if I left Amway because I did find God when I was a member of that business.
Yeah.
Well, and again, to me, it wasn't the corporation. It's the team. It's the culture, because I know people that did a lot of different things with Amway. I know a guy that had a huge network of payphones, that he bought these payphones on some kind of a deal from Amway. I know a guy that sold soil adjuvant to the Forestry Service, and he bought those from Amway. So there's different things, but the things that most people relate to where the recruiting comes in are primarily several key teams. And, we know who those people are. We don't need to mention them. And it's the culture that those teams created, right?
Correct.
Is that fair?
Correct. Yeah, that's absolutely fair. Yeah.
So like I said, and when I talk to folks and when I've talked to, a few of my friends that are still back over there, and I honor them when they tell me no, I leave them alone. I'm not here to mess with them. When they say those things to me, I just realize they're not really looking. They're looking for something different. They found it there, but I do know that there are millions probably of former Amway distributors who got a bad taste in their mouth because of how hard they work and how little money they made, and in those teams. And I hope that they understand that it wasn't them, and it wasn't the industry.
Yeah,
it was the compensation plan.
Yep.
And there's no reason, just because you once owned an AMC Gremlin, all right, doesn't mean that there aren't some nice automobiles out there.
Right.
Correct.
And when somebody tells me, oh yeah, no, I don't, I'm not interested in an MLM, I say, well, what was your experience? He said, well, I was in Amway. I'm instantly thinking, you were driving a Gremlin, but I'm offering you an S-Class Mercedes.
Yeah.
Oh boy, I tell you, it's funny, what you're saying, because I'm doing a live webinar. It's going to be broadcasted live from Turkey Saturday morning with a guy that was huge in Amway that found what we do now, and he's bigger than he could have ever imagined. And so we're going to be on a live webinar Saturday. That's the cool stuff that happens when people see, okay, this is a business. I see what's over here and I see what's over here, and they actually take action upon it. I got to tell you, I think if you're okay, Mr. Campbell, we'd love to have you back for the next segment to dive into a couple of more questions, because you're a wealth of knowledge, and I love the way that you explain what happened in Amway and where you're at now. So it would be our pleasure and our honor if you would have us back next week to do the same thing again with some new questions. All right.
Sure, absolutely, and happy to help. And look, you guys have had all the same experiences I've had, right? Pretty much. I mean, I wouldn't want anybody to think that I'm somehow more experienced or whatever than you guys, because we've all had those experiences. It's just,
it's different perspectives. That's what Brad and I wanted to just put our perspective out in our story. And then hearing yours tonight, there's so many stories. This is important for people to hear. And we're not going to badmouth the company. We're going to tell the truth about it. We're going to tell people, if you saw Amway and you want to quit, there's a whole big world out there of this industry that you do really, really, really well at. You just got to stop believing the lies that the team told you.
I like I said, I got my friends over there, and they're maybe making a couple $100,000 a year, and I just shake my head and I say, you've been making more than $1 million a year here for the last how many years, and they've cost their family a lot of money, and that's real stuff. And they say, well, I've made this. Well, you cost your family $6 million.
It's sad.
Yeah,
it's sad. They don't know what they don't know. And
they don't know what they don't know. And
that is true.
Like I said, those aren't the people we're reaching out to. We're reaching out to the people who really want information. I think that's what you're doing.
Absolutely.
And if they really want to know how it works, we've got friends that had been several that were double, triple diamond, executive an EDC. They're friends that aren't with Amway anymore, and I've sat and talked with them sometimes, and it's funny to get them together because they really start telling some funny stories about the old days and what they're doing and why they left and what the thing was. So,
and I think, Val, that's important because as my mindset was shaped that I didn't think there was another opportunity. I didn't think there was another opportunity for Brad Krantz, and what I found myself doing was self-defeating because I was beating myself up because I wasn't having the success. And what I was being taught was it's all on you. You're not core. You're not this yet. You haven't developed yourself enough yet. And it's like after I left, I realized I was one of the top producers at the company I was at. So I knew, okay, I'm not a slacker. I know how to work. But I came to realize, Adam and Val, you all know this, I wasn't in the right opportunity.
That's what I want to dive into. That's what I want to dive into on the next segment.
Okay.
Exactly. And Adam, and that's where you and I would have 110% agreement in that it's a kind of abuse because they're putting it on, not the corporation, the teams, they're putting it on the people and telling them, if you're just core enough, if you're just devoted enough, if you've just got enough faith, you should be able to make this work. And I don't care how good of a driver you are. If you're entering in a NASCAR race and you're driving an AMC Gremlin, you're not going to hit the finish line. It's not going to happen.
Yep. You can think as positive as you want, but you're not going to take first place.
Let's dive into that on an entire segment in the next video.
Let's do it, guys. Let's do it.
All right,
guys.
Thanks, guys. It was fun. Talk to you later.